guys, this is Miss Morton. Yes, I'm staying late on a Friday night because I want to try to help you get ready for your quiz on Tuesday. So today I just wanted to go over really quickly just a little reminder of what we've done so far. 4.1, we dealt with exponential growth and decay. So if you guys remember, look for this number that's in parentheses. If it's greater than 1, you have growth. If this number is less than 1 and it's in the parentheses, it is exponential decay. I don't care if there is a negative in front of this parentheses. All you're focusing on is what is in here. So even if you have that negative, it's still going to be growth because this number is greater than 1. Okay? So just a quick reminder, the formula for exponential growth, it is y equals a, which is that initial value, times 1 plus your annual rate, or whatever rate that they charge, depending on if it's a bank, a car, a loan, whatever you're looking at. 2, the t, that's your exponent of time. The only difference with decay is that you are having y equals that initial amount, a again, times 1. The difference is it's minus, not plus, that r of rate, and your exponent is time. So for instance, if you're buying a car and say it is the initial rate of $12,000, and then let's say it's going to depreciate by 25%, which is really high, per year. So it's going to be 1 minus 0.25. And then you're going to want to find out over a certain amount of time what your value is going to be. So let's say we want to figure out what it's going to be after 10 years. Okay? So this is what you're going to put in completely into the calculator. Hit that enter button, and then you'll get your answer. Okay? So, but this is how you would set it up. I'm not going to solve it all for you today, but I just wanted to show you and remind you how to set it up. Okay? So we had 4.1, then we moved on to 4.2. This is where we dealt with exponential inverses. And so you remember we had plots that were x and y, and then we had to do the inverse of it, and we had to graph the inverse. So let's say we had 0, 1, 2, 3, and then our numbers are going to be what? -4, -2, 0, and 2. Okay, those are just numbers that I just pulled out of the top of my head because I'm tired. So otherwise, no, normally you would have an equation, say it's 2 to the x, and you're going to have to solve for these points what 2 to the x would be for 0, 1, 2, 3. You would replace that x with these numbers on the left. Okay, so but just for a quick video, here's the numbers I just came up with. So this is your original plot. You're going to plot that line, and then your inverse is going to be the exact opposite. So you remember, your y's become your x's become your y's. So let's plot these here, 0, 1, 2, 3, -4, -2, 0, and 2. Okay, so this is your original plots. These are your inverse plots. Okay, so then I did really quickly, and I hope I am going to put this up on the screen to where you can see it. I quickly did the graph here. So this is your original line, and then this is your inverse line. And if you remember, I said if it makes it easier, do that imaginary line, which is the y equals x point. So that way you can check to make sure that this line will mirror this line perfectly across this axis right here. And as you can see, they do. Okay, so that's just a quick reminder of how to graph inverses. This will be on your quiz. Okay, so I'm trying to do problems that will be on your quiz on Tuesday. Okay, so now then we moved on to 4.3. Okay, this is when we got introduced to logarithms. I'm not going to focus a whole lot on 4.3 because if you remember, we'll do a couple really quickly. If you remember, we start with an exponent and then we take it into logarithmic function. So let's say we start with, this is 4.3. Let's say we start with 3 squared equals 9. Okay, so that's our exponential value. That's how we're starting. So you remember, this is your base, This is your exponent, that's your answer, okay? So now to write it in logarithmic, as a logarithmic function, you're gonna write it as log, then you're gonna put your base and you're gonna make it, remember, it's a little number. Then next goes your answer of 9 equals 2. Your exponent always goes last, remember that. The first number is always gonna be your base, the last number will always be your exponent, the number in the middle is gonna be your answer, okay? So that's how to take it from exponential to logarithmic. So let's do the flip of it. Let's do the inverse of it, and we're going to make it, we're gonna start with an exponential function, we're gonna start with a logarithmic function, and then we're gonna go to an exponential function. So for this one, it's gonna be log 4 of 64 equals Okay, sorry for a second, I forgot what I was doing. Okay, so we have log of 4, the answer of 64, and 3. So if you remember, we're going to do the exact flip of this, okay? So we are going to start with our base number, 4. Next will come that exponent of 3 equals, we're left with our answer. Okay, so that's just how you do the flip of it. So we started with the base, next came the exponent, and last came the answer. And if you want to double check this just to make sure that you did it correctly, 4 to the third is 64. Just check it in the calculator real quick, okay? So now let's go to 4.4, which is what we were just doing today. Yay, and you guys liked it because you thought it was really easy. So let's keep on being easy, and let's just go over a couple real quick. So remember, whenever I said quickly, we have, this is 4. Okay, let's say we have log 2, 16 plus log 2 of 2, okay? So if you guys remember, whenever we have a plus sign, we start by multiplying, okay? So you're gonna write it as log 2 of 16 times 2, okay? 16 times 2 is going to be what? Let me hear you guys. Oh yeah, that's right, you're not here. It is 32. So we have log 2 of 32. So now what we need to do is, you guys that do not like to do it by hand can put it in the calculator, but we are going to look at it as what number of what power of 2 equals 32. And in this case, it would be 5. So we'll erase that question mark because we know now that the answer is 5. 2 to the 5th power is 32. But remember to write this as your answer, so it'll be correct, is you have to write it as log 2 of your answer, 32, equals 5. Okay, so remember to write it this way at the very end, okay, because we want it to be correct. So now the other option that we would have, or that you will see on your quiz, is instead of being an addition, it's going to be a subtraction problem. So let me write one down for you real quick. Let's see what I came up with. So log 6 of 36 minus log 6 of 6. Okay? So remember, we have the same base numbers. So whenever we have a subtraction, the first thing we're going to do is divide. So we want to go log 6 of 36 divided by 6. Okay? Your answer is going to be log 6, and then 36 divided by 6 is 6. So now what you're going to do is just like you did in the last problem. Now that the only difference is the multiplication and the division. Now what you're going to do here is you're going to take this as your base and say 6 to what power equals 6. Okay, this one's easy. As you know, 6 to the first power, we'll erase this question mark, equals 6. So the same exact way that you did the last problem, you're going to do this one too. Okay, so log 6 of your answer 6 equals 1. Okay, easy as that. Okay, just a couple more and then you will be off and back to your weekend. And you will hopefully be studying like crazy for this test because I want you to do well. Okay, the last one, or last two should I say, is what we're going to do is we are going to have, let's see, 2 log 7. Okay, so this time we have the number 2 in front times log with base 7 of 49. Okay, so remember the quick and easy way I said about this one is first drop this first number down because we're going to need this at the end. So 2. Then we're going to have to look at this because it's not a base 10. Remember I said if there's either no number here or it's 10, it's always base 10. Since there's a 7 here, we're going to have to look at this and go 7 to what power will equal 49? Okay, so in this case it will be 7 squared. So we'll get rid of that question mark. It'll be 7 squared is 49. So what you're going to do is take this exponent right here and you're going to drop it down. So it's going to be 2 times 2, and that is going to be 4. Okay. Pretty easy, I know. So like I said, just remember, take the 2, drop it down, figure out what power of 7 will give you 49. That's going to be 7 squared. 7 times 7 is 49. You're going to drop down that 2, multiply it to that first 2, and get your answer of 4. Okay? And last but not least, we are going to do log 7 with a base 7 of 7 to the x plus 2. So we have log base 7 of 7 to the x plus 2. So your x plus 2 is the exponent this time. This is the one that I told you I like a lot because this is where you are eliminating because they're inverses. Okay, so you're just going to take log 7 and the 7 because they are in common. Guess what you do? Remember, you just cross them out. So what does that leave you with? X plus 2. And that is your final answer. Yes, it is as simple as that. Okay, so I went over some example problems that are very similar to what you're going to see on the quiz. Okay, so I want you all to be prepared. I want you studying because I know you're going to be awesome at studying. Don't forget, your 4.3 is due on Tuesday when you get back. And then we'll have our 4.4 from our lesson today. That is going to be due on Wednesday. And remember, those are odd only, but if you do the even problems, I will give you extra credit for your quiz. All right, have a good weekend, guys. See you later.